I have a very exciting video for you guys today. Today we're going to be taking a look at George Lucas's plans for a Star Wars sequel trilogy. Yes, you heard that right. I am so excited to talk about this with you guys. If you're like me at all, you probably aren't a big fan of the sequel trilogy that we got under Disney. In my opinion, it was pretty atrocious. And the more that I revisit it, and just even the small amounts that I do, or the more that I think back on it, the more I realize, hey, you know what? This whole trilogy was kind of crap. It is garbage, and most of us know this completely. And it seemed like it just continued to get worse with every film. It was on a downward slope projection, and not only just in the quality, but in the box office as well, which is not a good sign for a trilogy if each film just gets weaker and weaker in the box office than the previous one. So anyway, so we all know that the sequel trilogy is awful, and we would probably like nothing more than to see a remake of that sequel trilogy. So unfortunately, under Disney, that is probably not going to happen. But here we get a really exciting look at what George Lucas's sequel trilogy would have looked like, which is really awesome stuff. So a new George Lucas interview reveals his plans for a Star Wars sequel trilogy. And it would involve Darth Maul, it sounds like, as well, which is really awesome. So this new interview will be published in Star Wars Archives episode 1 through 3, 1999 to 2005 by Paul Duncan. In fact, Duncan is promoting the book by detailing that it reveals Lucas' plans for his sequel trilogy. On Twitter, Duncan wrote, George Lucas's plan for the sequel trilogy included Darth Maul and Darth Talon as the villains, Luke rebuilding the Jedi Order from the survivors of Order 66, which sounds so awesome. It sounds so good. Leia forming the New Republic, becoming the Chosen One. More in the Star Wars Archives episode 1 through 3. So I guess if you guys are really interested in that, you guys can go buy that and stuff when it comes out and stuff. Honestly, I might even look into getting it or borrowing it or something, because that sounds really cool. So in a YouTube video showing off the book, Duncan reveals it has a foreword by George Lucas. However, he's mum on Lucas's plans for a sequel trilogy. He states Lucas talks a little bit about his ideas, a few of his ideas for the third trilogy, but if you want to find that, you're going to have to get Star Wars Archives episode 1 through 3. While Duncan was mum in his YouTube video, an excerpt from Lucas's interview about his ideas for the sequel trilogy has made its way online. So Reddit user BothanSpy89 shared a screenshot from the book to the Star Wars Leaks subreddit. The excerpt seen below sees Lucas explain that Darth Maul trained a girl, Darth Talon, who was in the comic book as his apprentice. She was the new Darth Vader, and most of the action was with her. So these were the two main villains of the trilogy. Maul eventually becomes the godfather of crime in the universe because as the Empire falls, he takes over. That sounds fantastic. Oh my goodness, that sounds so good. Lucas went on to say, the movies are about how Leia, I mean, who else is going to be the leader, is trying to rebuild the Republic. They still have the apparatus of the Republic, but they have to get it under control from the gangsters. That was the main story. So it's really cool how it kind of like focuses on, I guess, the fallout of the demise of the Empire, which is awesome. I think that would be a much more concise way to kind of wrap up the trilogy than whatever train wreck they did with the Disney trilogy. Lucas then detailed, it starts out a few years after Return of the Jedi, and we established pretty quickly that there's this underworld. There are these offshoot stormtroopers who started their own planets, and that Luke is trying to restart the Jedi. He puts the word out, so out of 100,000 Jedi, maybe 50 or 100 are left. The Jedi have to grow again from scratch, so Luke has to find 2 and 3-year-olds and train them. It'll be 20 years before you have a new generation of Jedi, Lucas explained. He then described what Star Wars would look like following this trilogy. By the end of the trilogy, Luke would have rebuilt much of the Jedi, and we would have the renewal of the New Republic with Leia, Senator Organa becoming the Supreme Chancellor in charge of everything. So she ended up being the Chosen One. That all sounds so freaking cool, and already, just from this excerpt here, it sounds way better than anything we got from Disney. This sounds like it fits into the story. it fits into the saga, the Skywalker saga. This sounds like a continuation of the story that respects the characters, that gives people story elements that they want to see. It sounds so good. And it just makes me more angry at Disney that they probably knew about his ideas here. They probably knew about George Lucas's ideas of what they could have done with a sequel trilogy, and they just spat all over it. They just threw it out. It's completely disgraceful. It just makes me more angry thinking about it. What we got here as this idea from George Lucas, it sounds so good. And I'm not even the biggest of Star Wars fans necessarily, but even I get way more excited just reading this than I do the crap that we got from Disney. As Lucas notes in the interview, Darth Talon was introduced in the comics. She was a female Twi'lek who originally apprenticed under Darth Ryan in the Star Wars Legacy series. So this must be Darth Talon, which is awesome. It's so cool, man. It's so cool. It's a true shame. It's a true shame that we ended up with the trilogy that we did, which I'm sure you all can agree with. But what George Lucas has here as his ideas for what he would have done for a sequel trilogy is fantastic stuff. And I wish that we would have gotten this. I absolutely wish that we would have gotten this, that they would have consulted George more than they did and everything else. But unfortunately, we have what we have, and that is a real shame. And I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't think that Disney is ever going to be able to bring Star Wars back to its former glory. Unfortunately, no one cares about Disney Star Wars. No one cares. So anyway, it's a real shame. It really is. But yeah. I don't know. I guess we still have the prequel and the original trilogies, which is a good thing. So, that's good at least, right? So, anyway, with that being said, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. What do you think about George Lucas's ideas here for what he would have done for a sequel trilogy? I think it sounds really awesome, and it's a shame that we're not going to be able to see this. You know, it would be cool if George Lucas at least, like, I don't know, got like some author to work with him on writing these books, like writing like a trilogy of books based on the aftermath of the of what we got in the original trilogy and stuff. I don't know if that would ever happen, but it would be really cool if he would at least do something like that. I don't know if he would be able to with all the legalities and everything, but it would be cool if he could. So anyway, with that being said, if you're new here to Geeks and Gamers, consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate that, and I'll talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.